What was the name of the movie?
A Simple Favor.
Why do I keep thinking that's not the title of the movie? Because
they only brought it up once.
Twice. Yeah.
3.
I thought this movie was called What Happened to... What was the main girl's name even? Emily.
/Faith/Hope/
You're spoiling the movie.
What was her middle name?
I thought that the movie was a bit far-fetched. Went a little too far.
I had a hard time keeping up with it.
Oh, did you?
Because... No, I don't know what you call that, but they kept like, psych, and kept switching it up. I was like, okay,
like
what's
the plot
actually
kept changing
happening?
at the end.
Because they're like, oh, she's dead. Maybe she's not. Oh, but just kidding. Somebody else is. I'm like, okay, what's really happening?
The movie was taking you for a ride. That's what a movie's supposed to do.
Like, I felt exhausted after watching it. I was like, just had to focus so much. I didn't move at all.
Yeah?
Usually, when I'm sitting in a movie theater, I like can't get comfy. I was sitting like this the whole time because I just had to focus on it so much.
So the movie's main problem is that you have to focus on it, which should not be a thing.
If you want a nice, relaxing movie, don't see that one.
As in a movie you can fall asleep to. This movie was like weird because I thought it was gonna be like a black comedy, and it wasn't. It was more just.
I thought you said it was.
It was. I thought that from the trailer, and at first it seemed like they were doing that, but after a while I realized this is kind of like all of, I don't know, the other Paul Feig movies that exist, where he's got like, the random side characters who are meant to just be there for comedic purposes. A lot of comedies have this kind of third act, where like a last second heyday character shows up to save the day. Someone who just showed up in the plot randomly earlier. That happened in Game Night too, and that's happened in like other comedies.
I thought it was a lot like Game Night, which it wasn't, but I don't know why I kept comparing it to that too.
It's because Game Night was kind of weirdly dark too. It
was like funny, but like also really, really dark at points.
Because it was like about murder at the same time. Or, well, not murder specifically, but just kind of like something like that, because there were guns involved, there were gangs involved, all kinds of stuff like that. And, this kind of went for that same tone for a while, but it got like too serious, too dramatic. It's kind of like Gone Girl at certain points, but
I should see that movie.
You should.
Keep referencing it, and even in the article that I read, trying to figure out what happened at the end, they said that they're like, it has a Gone Girl feel.
Gone Girl isn't a movie that completely takes itself seriously, because that's like the point. Because the woman in that movie is not actually dead. It's the same thing that happens here, except
she had a twin.
She didn't have a twin. That movie did it a little crazier and better, but like the director there is able to, that's the guy who directed Zodiac, so he's kind of good at doing movies that have like a darker feel to them, but he can throw in sort of comedic characters and not take the plot too seriously, but it's still like, it's got a darker atmosphere to it. This movie was shot just like every other Paul Feig movie, so it was just kind of weird that, oh yeah, we're talking about someone who's like literally murdering someone right now, and we're just supposed to be like, but hijinks ensue, Isn't it funny that the pot smoker shows up to save the day, like...
Oh, they whipped out guns, like,
yeah.
Even though, like, that one, was it real or not? Or it just wasn't loaded?
Yeah, it wasn't loaded. But what did we like about it? Because we did like the movie.
I really liked it at first, but then, I don't know.
I
don't know how to explain it. It kind of was hard to keep up, and I didn't know, because it had like Emily, and then it had, what was the other one, Stephanie, and the husband. I was like, well, which one is the good person and which one's the bad person? Because they were all kind of working together and then against each other, and they kept switching it up. I was like,
at first it makes it kind of seem like you don't know exactly what happened. The movie's trying to make that it could very well be Stephanie just doing everything, because you don't really know at that point. But almost like halfway through the movie they give up on that, because they literally show that Emily's still alive. So like the movie kind of gave up on that, and then they were just like, no, it's just a scheme by her, and then you gotta find out if it was the husband, then you find out no, it wasn't the husband either. So by the end I feel like there's just a lot of confusion that's not needed about what's going on.
Did he know about it?
No, because the wife straight up asked him about it when she shows up again at that cafe. And, you know, he said, I had no idea you were going to do any of this. And, well, he said it to her. Why would he lie to the one person who would know he's lying? So, obviously, he's telling the truth. He didn't know she had a twin.
Well, then he moved on quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was unhappy.
Well, so did she, but they got to be best friends in 2 weeks, I guess.
I don't know, that kind of shows just, like, I mean, yeah, like, Anna Kendrick's supposed to be, like, the detective of all this, but she's just kind of terrible, too, because her friend dies, and I don't know, there's a sense of her that doesn't even fully believe she dies, but then the guy's like, don't worry, she's dead, move in with me, and she's like, oh, okay.
I love you. Like, your wife is, like, not even cold yet, but okay.
I don't know, I could buy all that, but I just really more liked the part where Anna Kendrick was figuring it all out as, like, a detective and going place to place, piecing it all together. But by the end, it's just like, whoa, what is going on? This is like...
She figured it out, but then when they met up again, she had it all figured out and she was telling her, and then it all just kind of switched again.
Yeah, well, she, like, I don't know why they needed to explain what happened for real, because, like, Blake Lively was doing that. But we already kind of knew all that from earlier about the fire in the house and the twin sister. Like, we already had most of this figured out. The audience did. And they had her explain it, but then they have the movie go on for, like, another, like, extra set of circumstances where it didn't really seem like it was supposed to be there. And it makes you just kind of confused, because by the end you're like, oh, maybe they were working with the cops all along, but you never really know. But a lot of it's just done for comedy effect, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like now that I actually know everything, and I don't need to think so hard on it, if I watched it again, I probably would like it better. Because I really did like it in the beginning.
You just went out to be so confused.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of the movie?
Favorite part of the movie?
Yeah.
Probably the part where the two started kissing, because I totally called that from the beginning.
My favorite part, when these two girls make out.
I'm kidding. No. I was saying there was a lot of chemistry between them both. You read it too. You thought there was chemistry.
Was Blake Lively getting on anybody.
That's
and
true.
Stephanie was like, oh.
Okay. I like the part where she told her little story, though, Anna Kendrick's story, because it was just so out there, and you're like, what?
Why'd they bring that? They brought it up, like, a lot.
I think it was just supposed to be like an awkward joke. What was your favorite part of the movie?
Blake Lively.
She was the best part, you thought?
She's attractive. I mean.
That's why? That's not a good reason why. I did like Anna Kendrick in it too. She's had every movie I've seen her in, I haven't been like, I thought she's like annoyed me. Her characters have always annoyed me, especially in Pitch Perfect. I think that's one of the worst characters just ever. I'm like, but I know Anna Kendrick's not, but she's not
Have you met her?
in any movie. Well, from what I know of. But like in movies, it just seems like she always has to play some annoying character. Here it was like, oh, she played someone who I guess you would say is annoying, but she just has quirks to her. She's very much, the mom type. It was just weird to me though, because like I've seen movies do that where it's a black comedy where they're taking serious scenarios and they're adding some humor. You see it in Fargo, you see it in, like I said, Gone Girl, and a couple David Fincher movies. But here, the way it's shot and everything, and just, I don't know, even with those like opening scenes, like it's just dialogue there that you totally could see in like any comedy movie. But here it just comes off so creepy, especially when you already know she disappears, so you're just like, what the heck's going on? I thought it was really like straight out of the 2000s when they went to that designer studio. She was looking up information on her, and the guy was just like this stereotypical designer douche who's just like, oh, what are you wearing there? And everything. That just reminded me of every like 13 going on 30 or How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, like just that kind of. But it is that kind of style, right? Of just that kind of typical douchebag, like high and mighty about themselves and everything. And those aren't even really the best examples, but like there are a lot of comedies like that, and it's just funny that in this movie where I was expecting at least a different kind of humor and a different kind of comedy, it still had that same kind of attributes that every like Paul Feig comedy has.
I feel like throughout the whole movie, Stephanie kind of wanted to be Emily because the way that she was looking at when the husband came for the first time, and she's like, oh my god, I read your book in the book club, and she was just like staring at them like she wanted to be her. And then when she like put on her dress and stuff, I was like, she was just like moving into the house, like being like.
But I like the opening scenes because it really makes you wonder, oh, it could be her. And you know, a lot of this stuff though is kind of by accident. Like, you know, if you would get it from the perspective of the detectives, which you've seen movies like that too, where, you know, a woman totally is taking the role that someone else had, and you find out by the end, oh, she murdered the wife to take her life, basically. And, you know, she'll come in the door with the wife's clothing on. You get from the detective's perspective, and you just think right away, well, she's a terrible woman. But if you see the stuff earlier, this is the part we never see in movies, but the part earlier where Anna Kendrick's just trying to, like, rip off the dress, and she's like, oh my god, it's like, I do...
And she still put it on.
It's gonna make me look so bad, basically. And so I thought that was kind of funny, because there was a part of me thinking, well, maybe she is just that crazy, but she's like a quirky kind of crazy, where she's just like...
Oh, crazy enough to do what she did with her brother.
Yeah, that's the thing, like, she still is just kind of got a little bit of weirdness to her.
And take the husband.
Yeah, she did take the husband, too. And the husband was cheating, for sure, so, like, it was just, like, a lot of... No one was good. Yeah, no one was good in this movie. Anna Kendrick's good, but, like, she's weird.
Why didn't they bring that up again when she went to his office? And that girl came in.
I don't know.
She's like, hey, handsome, and then she's like, oh, she seems nice.
Well,
and then it's just, like, dropped.
I think a lot of that was supposed to be for, like, the viewer to be like, oh, well, see, he's not a great guy either, because he obviously had established this relationship with her before. So he was cheating on his wife before she died. So I think that was established. As for what it adds to the movie, not really much, because you get to the end and you're like, maybe they did that because they're like, well, see, he's not perfect either. I'm like, yeah, but that's all he did. Like, honestly, and I mean that's bad, but also his wife was crazy. I'm not defending him, but I'm saying is, you know, to say, oh, you know, he's bad too, and Blake Lively was trying to bring him down with her.
Do you think he'd ever try to, like, leave her and it just didn't work?
Maybe. I mean, they kind of established that early on with the whole incident on the plane.
Well, they said even that their neighbors could hear him fighting all the time. I think he tried to escape and she tracked him down. I
mean, to be honest, his mom breaks a hip in London, which, I mean, breaking a hip is bad, but, like, oh my god, I must rush to London right now. And when she just said they have money problems, I'm like, so this dude is looking for a chance to get out any time he can, honestly.
You give it a 7 out of 10?
I give it a 7 out of 10, but that's a very generic rating, because I give that rating to any movie that I'm like, oh, that's good, and I won't remember it later. Honestly. It has, like, all the attributes of being a good movie, and being, like, one of my, like, favorites, and being, like, a 5-star movie, but it's simply that I'm just gonna probably forget about it, is the thing.
You won't remember, because you don't fully understand it. Just kidding. I give it a 7 out of 10, too. I think it could be an 8 if I rewatched it. Let's just go see it now again.
Let's go see The Predator instead. Yeah. Let's go see White Boy Rick. That's a movie that's in theaters right now.
No, thanks.
Thank you for watching the video. A special thanks to Chris, Lucas, and Ryan for supporting me on Patreon. If you'd like to be like them and get exclusive access to content and blogs, and even request reviews monthly, please click on the Patreon link, and thanks for your support.